What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Double A have here. I know it's been a little bit of a minute, and I've been a little sporadic, I'd say, with the release of some of my videos. But as y'all know, there's been a lot going on. I had the baby, then my wedding got postponed several times due to COVID. So then, what was it like last week? Not 2 weeks ago, I finally was able to have my wedding ceremony. Just all that stuff that comes with a wedding, and then the aftermath, the decompressing, and all that stuff. So I've just been busy. It was actually pretty tough for me to even schedule in that interview with Michael Peoples. I'm not sure if y'all checked that video out, but definitely check the video out. It's about a brother who has a very, very interesting story. He just released a book, so I had him on. That way we can talk about his book and get his name out there and help support, right? Because that's what we're supposed to be doing. So we as quote unquote black people need to get back to supporting ourselves and righteous causes. You know what I mean? Because it's one thing to say support ourselves and shit like that. Then you got niggas out in the hood saying, I don't snitch, I'm supporting my people. That's not the same. You know what I mean? We need to start supporting ourselves in a righteous, more constructive way instead of unrighteous, deconstructive way. That's what we need to do. Basically we need to specify. We have to come up with a very detailed plan and specify what the hell we're trying to support. So yeah, people doing good things like that, trying to build up the community and give us some knowledge and use their story as like a means to say, hey, look, man, I have all the excuses laid out for me in the book. I was born 5 months premature. I had no chance to live, survive, let alone to freaking make it out of high school, and I'm doing all of this. So yeah, that is a righteous cause, and that brother needs to be supported. And I'm sure there's more like him. But if you know somebody like that, send them my way. I'll bring them on the channel. We could do an interview, and but that's what we got to do. We have to get back to that. All right, and I digress because that's not what this video is about. This video is actually about. Hold on, let me put this down. Boom. So Rashod McCants, he was a first round draft pick a couple years ago. He won a national championship, I believe, with Duke, and he might be better known as one of the first victims of the Kardashian tribe. So he's pretty much he's been coming on the Fearless show with Jason Whitlock lately as a new quote unquote fearless soldier. But I'm not trying to bring the brother down or anything, because he may mean well, and he may be trying to turn everything around and gain broader perspective, and that's cool. But it just so happens that during this segment, he gave me something that I was like, I'm going to definitely speak on that, because what he's saying is incorrect. And not only that, I know that many other brothers in the community think the same way. So I'm trying to dispel that, because it's one of the things that's actually prohibiting us from actually being supportive of constructive things in the community, like what I was just saying about when I opened up. Yeah. So I'm gonna play the video, and he's gonna start, going off on his little thing, and I'm gonna break down exactly the issue with what he's saying, and then how we can tie it back into you can support, but are you supporting something constructive or supporting something destructive? And that's what we need to focus on as a community. All right, so let me play this video.
Portraying for the last 5 years, and that is, let me in. I have a percentage of me that's black. What's the problem? Well, here's the problem, Colin. Being black is not an ethnicity. We don't have nationality.
Okay, so he said being black is not an ethnicity, and that's 100% correct. Now, for those of you that's been on this channel and watched at least 5 of my videos, I'm sure you've heard me say that. So I agree with him on that. That is 100% correct. Black is not an ethnicity. I know there's a lot of brothers out there and sisters out there that will love to believe otherwise, but no, unfortunately for y'all, that is not an ethnicity. Black is a color. Black is a color. White is not an ethnicity. White is a color. So those alt-right dudes, those the Aryan Brotherhood and all that stuff with the white race and stuff like that, again, they're wrong too. But you see how it's two sides of the same coin? You want to be black, they want to be white, but there's no such thing. Those are colors, okay? Those aren't ethnicities. All right. So as long as you can understand that, then we can move on in this conversation. And if you're one of the people that you don't, for some reason, don't want to or can't digest that, then you're really gonna have to. Like, I don't have the books in front of me, but I've said before what books are great books to get your mind, like break up the chunks in your mind and actually start having some free thought. But I digress because I don't have those. If I come across them, I'll leave them in the description. But we have to. It's imperative that we have to separate ourselves from this black-white narrative because, again, first and foremost, it's not an ethnicity. All right.
Being black is a culture.
See, whoa, see, that's it. See right there, yo, the dude was on point, right? And then he just went full crazy on the other end. Let me rewind it so you can hear it all together.
Problem. Well, here's the problem, Colin. Being black is not an ethnicity.
Correct.
We don't have nationality. Being black is a culture.
Incorrect. So now I know there's many, and I'm like the majority of quote unquote black people out there would like to believe that the quote unquote black is a culture, that there's a such thing as black culture. And just like it's not an ethnicity, it is not a culture neither. All right? It is neither a culture. So, how is it not a culture? Well, let's just go back over how it's not an ethnicity. It's a color. It's a man-made label that wasn't even created by said man. So it was pretty much just like, hey, this is quote unquote black culture because y'all black and that's what y'all do, and we don't do that. So these are differentiating things or distinguishing things that make you guys who you are. And then quote unquote black people hold on to it and then try to make it their own and stuff like that. Whether it's to their betterment or detriment, whether it's being constructive or destructive, i.e., quote unquote black people's diet. High, it's going to give you high blood pressure. It's going to give you high cholesterol. It's going to give you diabetes, right? Eating all these pig's feet, chitlins, all of that stuff. And don't get me wrong, that shit's banging. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even out here trying to front. No, those collard greens. You know what I'm saying? And look, if the collard greens don't taste a certain way, if they don't look a certain way, don't even bring them shit by me. Okay, I'm not. I'm being real. I'm trying to let y'all know that you have to know, therefore you can do better. So I understand, but at the end of the day, I know how I grew up. All right, am I gonna sit there and say that that's culture? No, that's not culture. That's just the way I fucking grew up. You know what I'm saying? That's what was kind of like you do what you know. All right, you do what you know. And it doesn't matter on why you know what you know or why you don't know what you should know, but you do what you know. So you can't just go around calling it a culture, because again, like then you would have to start calling other things like that a culture, like prison culture. Is that a culture? If I was in prison my whole life, and then I get out, and I start going around doing things that you see in prison, and then trying to tell people like, no, that's my culture though. That's my culture. Well, is that a culture? Is that a culture that anyone wants to be a part of or call a culture? You know what I mean? So again, no. Just as quickly as you would tell someone, hey man, that's not the way you're supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? That's not a real culture. To someone with a quote unquote prison culture, is the same rationale that you need to use and input when you're discussing quote unquote culture with a quote unquote black person. Okay? Yeah, with me so far? So black is a color. Now a culture would be, for instance, one of my best friends, he is Nigerian, Igbo tribe, Nigerian. So he has a culture tied to his ancestry. All right. Now in Nigeria, there's hundreds and thousands of tribes over there that do things differently culturally. These people know who they are, and they pride themselves on their culture. All right, and their heritage, and what they do and why they do, and the things that they hold dear to them. Right. Now quote unquote black people. Now some people are gonna say, because of racism and the slave trade and blah, 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 all that stuff. But, it's a whole bunch of narrative there, because, again, not every single black person here in America is a descendant of a goddamn slave. All right, so and there's a wealth of books and literature out there to dispel the narrative, but people are just too lazy to actually pick up the books and read them. So look, again, not every quote unquote black person here is a descendant from a slave, but with that in mind, because the lack of history or maybe not a lot, because of the muddied quote unquote history, quote unquote black people say, oh, well, we only have what we got from slavery and the tales they're from. But that's not correct. And again, just because someone was giving you shitty food for 50 years, does that mean that post whatever you want to call it, post being, a second class citizen or being a slave, that now because you were doing that for the last 50 years and now you're going to have to do it for the next 200 years? Does that make any sense? No, of course it doesn't make any sense. But that's what the quote unquote black community wants you to believe. So no, Rashod, black is not an ethnicity, and it's not a culture neither. And it's not a culture neither. Black is not a culture. Okay? Again, culture is something that you would trace down like family lines, like for instance, the Queen of England, the British royals. They have a culture. And not even just the British royals. The people that live in Wales, they have a culture that's different from the culture of the people that live in Ireland, and they have a culture that's different from the people that live in Scotland. And that's all in the UK. That's all part of the UK, but they all have different cultures. Same rules apply when you're talking about the majority of freaking countries out there that have people that you can break down into groups, not based off of arbitrary freaking like factors like skin color or eye color. You get what I'm saying? So when you want to reduce things down to something so basic, to skin color, eye color, or like at that point you could continue. Why even stop there? You would height, weight. If you really wanted to, maybe not weight, because weight you can control to a degree. But I'm just trying to illustrate a point here. For instance, every quote unquote white person, if you go to Europe, right, there's gonna be a lot of white people in Europe, right? Are they all the same? No. Should they all come together because they're all quote unquote white? No, that doesn't make any sense. So the same thing. Look at Africa. All the freaking the hundreds of thousands of different tribes. Not even just in Nigeria. I'm talking about Africa, the continent. So you're just gonna say they should all unite? They have never all united since the beginning of fucking time, and they will never unite to the end of time. You wanna know why? Because they're different people. Different people do different things and have a different culture. All right? A rich culture, that one that explains a lot of the rituals that they have, Black culture, and I put that in quotes obviously, is what? Let's talk about what it is then, right? Because I know there's still a lot of y'all that's gonna be like, oh, this nigga stupid, yo, this nigga is Uncle Tom and all this shit for the culture. All right, so tell me, let's go down the list. What is Black culture, huh? Hip hop music? Is that Black culture? Is rap Black culture? You know what I'm saying? Is baggy jeans Black culture? Is wearing chains like the one that he's wearing right now? Is that Black culture? Wearing grills, is that Black culture? Being a mama's boy, is that Black culture? Not having your father around, is that Black culture? Having a poor diet, is that Black culture? Huh? Like, are all these things Black culture? Are they? I'm sure some people are going to say, yeah, they are actually. Actually, yes. Smarty pants, they are. That is Black culture. And I would say to you, it is not. Why is it not? Well, let's go down the list. Music. The music of hip hop and R&B, hip hop and rap, right? And I guess R&B too. I'm sure people will try to say is Black culture. So put that in there too. The music talks about things that, again, are detrimental to the quote unquote community, right? Right. Rapping about killing niggas, selling drugs to the community, raping bitches, and all that shit, acting a fool. That, first of all, a lot of these people aren't living that life. We already know that. Number one. Number two, again, it's detrimental. Okay, so that's just a fabrication. All right, that's just like a dream. So people's dreams is in the culture. The quote unquote black community isn't even a community, because black, again, is not it's nothing substantive. There's nothing that you get from the word black. You don't get any lineage. You don't get any culture, no heritage, no nothing. Black is whatever the fuck whoever's talking about it makes it or wants it to be. That's what black is, essentially. That's why you hear people, and I made videos about this before. That's why you hear people say, "Oh, he's not black." I mean, obviously they're talking about a quote unquote what you would call a quote unquote black person, but they're saying or making a reference to the fact or to their thought that the person doesn't act quote unquote black. Like they're not doing quote unquote black things. You know, if they're speaking properly, oh, he's not black. He speak white. He white. You want to be white. He Oreo, whatever the case may be. You know, I'm sure you've heard all or called someone some of those things before, so you get what I'm saying. But like that, how they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Black is in the eye of the speaker, because it's black is a goddamn color. So no one could come out and say, whoa, no. Black is this because X, Y, and Z. No, that doesn't happen. Now, for instance, if someone was to come out and start saying stuff about the Irishman or the let's just take it back to Africa, a Nigerian from the Igbo tribe, and say, "Oh no, you're not being Igbo enough." Now, there's a clear distinction on what the fuck Igbo is, right? And it's like we well, maybe not y'all, but if you're familiar with anyone from Africa or the Igbo tribe in particular, then you understand like there's a distinction. So if someone's saying, "Oh, he's not Igbo," you know what I mean? Like you can tell. There's steps that you will go through to figure out if this person is actually Igbo or not, right? So again, to be quote unquote black, what the fuck does that mean? Huh? And that's why they have stupid things such as, oh, the black card. Oh, we're gonna revoke your black card, or such and such is getting invited to the cookout and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because it's like a fucking fairy tale, some bullshit, like a quote unquote exclusive club that's not really exclusive. Okay, the shit's exclusive to fucking liberal black women and quote unquote liberal white people, whether they're male or female. That's just what it comes down to. You know, a nigga that like me that speaks the truth and just calling shit the fuck out as it is, because this is a pro-truth analysis, my perspective. That's all it is. Number one, you know, people like me, they try to put on the outside. They try to freaking slander me, call me different names that's outside of my name and all that shit, right? But that's cool because that's to be expected. All right, that's to be expected. The truth is going to divide. The truth is going to divide. It does not bring people together. It divides people. All right, and people don't like the truth. All right, because what the truth is like a goddamn mirror, and people don't like looking at themselves in a mirror. You know what I'm saying? So let me digress. Black is in the mouth or the words of the speaker. So there is no true definition of black. I mean, actually, there is. There truly is a definition of black. And if you look it up in a dictionary, you won't see culture next to it. You won't see heritage next to it. You won't see none of that shit next to it. Okay, but that's my point. So when you try to say, "Oh, black this, black that," no, man, no, that's not what it is. Now, the next logical step in all of this would be, well, then what is our heritage? What is our culture? Or how do I find out what it is? Because I don't know and all that stuff. Now, those are great conversations. Those are great topics. And again, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books out there that will tell you who you are. Okay? That'll tell you who you are. All right? And you can do some research. You can ask your family where's your family from and go back as far as you can. And then, complement that with the learning that you get from reading certain books. And then you can put all the pieces together. But, if just because you want to be lazy and say, okay, well, I'm black, even though your skin ain't black. Like right now, I'm wearing a Champion hoodie, and this shit's black. All right? And then where the sleeve meets my hand, there's a clear distinction that my hand is not black. My hand's not black. My hair is black. You know what I'm saying? My hair is black. My hand ain't black. Right? I am not black. Black is a color. When you call yourself black, you marginalize yourself, and that's again why I say quote unquote black, and I do not call myself black. Y'all need to stop calling yourself black. Pro black, this black that. Black is a culture. No, it is not. Black is a fucking color, and you sound like a moron going around calling yourself a fucking color, man. You know how fucking pathetic a goddamn Japanese person or Korean person or Chinese person would look if they went around calling themselves yellow all the damn time. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yellow culture, yellow. What? You would look at him like he's fucking stupid. Like, say tomorrow they started doing that shit. Like, tomorrow they all in unison was like yellow going forward. What kind of shit is that? So, what it will also do, it will break down, it will literally break down all the distinguishing factors between all the different groups. So now you got Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese, Japanese, and there's many more, right? But most people can draw some distinctions between these different types of people. I know I can based off of food, right? Obviously, food. Chinese food ain't the same as freaking Japanese food, all right? And if you didn't know that, then you need to get culture. It's not the same. Thai food ain't the same as Japanese food or Chinese food, and Korean food is not the same. It's all different, all right? These people have different cultures. They do things differently for different reasons. All right. They have strong cultures and history and lineage. So if they were just to be like, we're going to break all it down, right? And we all the same. Boom. They would be robbing themselves of all their rich history and culture. And what that is socialistic. That's communistic. That's pretty much what China is doing. And that is why those countries over there don't want no part of it. But y'all don't understand nothing that's going on in the world, and y'all just want to take shit like, oh, that makes sense, and but no, do some fucking thinking. All right, do some thinking. Am I the same? Living up here in the greater New York City area as a brother living out in Arizona somewhere? Huh? Just because I'm black, he black. You know what I'm saying? We thousands of miles away from each other, right? Grew up completely differently, but because and the nigga's skin hue might not even match mine identically. He might be a couple shades lighter, a couple shades darker, right? But because we're called quote unquote black over here, now we have to just align all of our views and all of our thought processes to be in unison. No, that doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any sense. And why doesn't it make sense? Because it's not supposed to make sense. Because it was made up and fucking spoon fed to y'all. Not just y'all, us. Spoon fed to us. But as long as you continue to eat that shit, nigga, that's it. You eating shit. But you have to wake the fuck up and understand. So please do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe to this video, right? And most importantly, share this video. Because I know there's people that's going to listen to this video that somebody that needs to hear this shit. Somebody needs to hear this shit. And if they need some follow-up, again, leave it in the comments. I could pull up a list of books that can help you on your journey to figuring this shit the fuck out. And understanding that you're more than just, what people tell you that you are. All right? Because if you wake up tomorrow and you say, I'm going to embody being black and everything that comes with, do you know what that fucking really means? Huh? Do you know what that really means? It means that you have a very bleak future ahead of you. Very, very bleak. Because there's nothing good about black. Black is a color that denotes like, vile, sickness, darkness, death. That's what the fuck black means. Regardless of whether you say, oh, well, that's the white man's definition or interpretation of it or whatever. Hey, at the end of the day, you have to understand that these words are charged with energy. All right. And that energy is real and it can impact your life. So you don't want to be bringing that negative energy to you, all right? Trying to turn something bad into something good, And again, black is a color. And I haven't seen many, because I have seen some people who them niggas is black. But outside of that, I haven't seen many, all right? So hold on, let me play this video because I'm not even sure if he says anything else. Mainly that point is what I wanted to address. I'll rewind it a little bit and then I'll let it continue.
Problem. Well, here's the problem, Colin. Being black is not an ethnicity.
Correct.
We don't have nationality. Being black is a culture.
No.
You have to identify with the culture. And
what do you mean you have to identify with the culture? You can't identify with the culture. Well, actually, no. Let me stop right there. He just said, Colin, you have to identify with the culture. So, I'm so happy I started playing this video game because I forgot about the dumb shit that goes on to say. So look, the issue with that is, if you're telling Colin Kaepernick that he has to identify with the culture, then all that makes someone black is if they identify with the culture. And that's why we get a lot of these quote unquote wiggle white boys out here. That's why we get a lot of these fucking machine gun killers out here that was one day want to be down, and the next day they want to be a drummer in a rock band. You know what I'm saying? That's where you get the Paul Walls and shit from. And nothing against Paul Wall. I do like the music that he brought into the rap game. Yeah. So again, not to knock anybody here, but they're just calling it what it is. If you have, and again, Rashod McCants was in the NBA. He has a platform. He's made a lot of money, right? And he's out here saying this nonsense. This is literally not helping the cause. This is hurting the cause because you're saying, oh, it's just about identifying as. Well, that sounds eerily familiar or similar to the whole transgender. Oh, I identify as this. I identify as that. So if you're going to be consistent, which I'm going to do a whole series coming up soon on consistency, because that shit's huge. So if you're going to be consistent, Mr. McCants, then you would have to say, well, it's not about how the fuck you identify, because if I woke up tomorrow and I started to, or I believed I identify with an octopus, that doesn't make me no more an octopus, like than the next guy, right? Thank you. So let's continue.
First series, you showed the world you don't have nationality. Being black is a culture. You have to identify with the culture. In your series, you showed the world you have no idea what black is about.
Ooh, that's a great point. He has no idea what black is about. And it's funny, I just said all this, y'all. Black is in the mouth of the speaker. That's what it's about. Whatever the speaker believes it to be about and speaks it to be about, that's what it's about. Because it's arbitrary. That's why. So Rashawn is saying it's like mic drop. You have no idea what black is about. So enlighten us, Mr. McCants, please.
At all. So the fact that you're using this, I don't know where my daddy is, and my white father and white mother don't want me there. I was the second choice, man. You are tripping. And if you want to identify with black people.
See, that's the thing. If you want to identify with. See, there's no want. Want implies like, it can change. Like, all right, well, I don't want to. I want to identify with this. And not, you don't get to choose how the fuck you identify when it comes to culture and community. That's just what it is. It's ingrained. You know what I mean? But if you get to fucking just flip-flop and choose, that's not a culture. You okay? Because a culture, a quote-unquote Irishman can't just wake up tomorrow and say, you know what? I identify with the Scots. I'm Scottish. I'm not Irish. The Scots are going to look at him like, yo, you're fucking bugging. Okay, we get it. You really like how we do things over here. But that doesn't, change the fact of who you are. If a Japanese person was like, hey, tomorrow, you know what, man? I love egg rolls, man. I love egg rolls and wonton soup. Tomorrow, going forward, I'm Chinese. I identify as Chinese. The Chinese will look at this person like, you're not Chinese. Thank you for appreciating what we do. But, just so we're all clear, you're not, okay? You're not. And if you wanted to keep on going, then most people probably will come to the conclusion that this person has some kind of mental disorder, right? And that's natural. That's a natural conclusion to follow. So, how come in the quote-unquote black community, it's as subjective as, oh, well, if you choose to identify this way, or, you're not being black. You're not acting black. Like it's some goddamn part in a fucking film. But that's what it is. That's what it is, and that's what we need to understand, y'all.
You gotta be black. That means be a part of the culture.
You see, and now you're speaking in circles because you're saying, "Oh, you gotta be black, identify black," and that means be part of the culture. Nigga, I just spent damn near 30 minutes explaining to you that black isn't a fucking culture. It's not a culture. And in that time, I explained to you and brought forth examples of cultures. So you're speaking in circles. And again, I'm not no disrespect to Mr. Rashod McCants, no disrespect to his brother. Again, maybe he's turning his life around, trying to come into greater understanding, and that's all cool and dandy. But for the sake of using this as a a talking point for y'all to help illustrate a part of the issues, I have to use it. And again, no disrespect to Mr. Rashod McCants. Hopefully, he looked back on this and is learning from it.
That means not being a hypocrite inside of, white father, white mother, but I'm adopted. So that means that my black dad that left me, it makes me black. I really, honestly though, Jason, I have a problem with Colin Kaepernick going to this route of police brutality and not Planned Parenthood and abortion, because he could have been aborted.
That's a good point. All right, so at least at the very end, this nigga done brought it back with with a tangible point. Yes, I agree with that too. Colin Kaepernick should be one of the loudest speakers out there for pro-life, because he could have been aborted. So even if he wants to think that his life is so bad, but he's made millions of dollars, got a Netflix series and all sort of stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, those of you who know, y'all know why he will never come out and say he's pro-life. All right, because his handlers tell him otherwise. Okay, that's not where his bread is buttered. And second of all, he's an MK asset. All right, we all know that. So he's gonna do what the hell he's programmed to do and say what he's programmed to say. All right. So, but yes, that is a great point, and there's a point that you haven't heard anyone, especially in the quote unquote black community, say about Colin Kaepernick. Because first of all, he's like fucking Saint Colin Kaepernick right now, just like Saint George Floyd. Like all these people, they're saints and they're untouchable, and you can't say nothing to them. All right, you just got to go with them, and if you don't go with what they're saying, lock and step, then you're part of the problem. And again, that is why Colin Kaepernick will never speak out about speak out for pro-life, because BLM, as you already know, is pro-abortion, right? And Colin Kaepernick and Nike are aligned with BLM, so they have to unilaterally all be on the same page. They can't have one person saying this and the next person saying that. That's not how it's gonna go. All right, they all are going to be lockstep. And again, LeBron James is part of that group too, so he's going to be saying the same thing that they're saying. They're not making any big statements. These motherfuckers, they acting like, I'm fringe because I'm saying things that people ain't saying. No, you're saying safe things. You're saying corporate approved things. Okay, but people are going for the okie doke because they're still asleep. And I'm not trying to make that a reference about quote unquote being woke. No, but it's just how I'm describing it now. These people they're not really living life. They're not really understanding what's going on around them. Unfortunately, a lot of people, especially in the black community, the quote unquote black community, don't understand what's going on around them. So I take the task, of making videos like this to help people understand, because the sooner we all get on the same level of understanding, then we can actually make great change and impact in the community. All right, first of all, we have to start by building the community, and then we can start to change it. Once you begin to build it, you can make it your own. All right, and then you can make it how you want it to be. When you don't own something, you don't control something, then you are at the behest of whatever the fuck it is. And again, in the quote unquote black communities, all you hear about is, we're this, we're that, we're put down and stuff like that. We don't get no jobs, no choices, no blah 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 blah. And that's how the community ain't yours. Because in the community that's yours, you could do, you could change that shit, because you control it. But if you telling me you live somewhere where you ain't got no control, ding 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 ding, the community ain't yours. It ain't yours. If you quote unquote live in a community where 90% or more of the buildings aren't owned by people from that community, or 90% or more of the businesses aren't owned by the people in that community, then how the hell is that your community? Huh? Because if you don't own any property, you don't own any business, you're not paying property taxes, you're not paying business taxes. So the majority of the taxes are coming from people that don't live in that community. And their taxes are going towards your quote unquote benefits that you get, like, the Planned Parenthood, which is the whole other conversation, and the whole mass transit and all that stuff. But that's a whole other video for a different day that we can go into and break down. Like, if you really want to get into the logistics on how these quote unquote black communities aren't quote unquote black communities. If you want to call it a community, you can call it a quote unquote community that have a whole bunch of niggas living in it. That's what the fuck you really could call it if you wanted to get real spicy. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just what it is. If you don't own shit, you don't control shit, it ain't yours. It ain't yours. That's like a nigga moving into your crib, right? He don't pay no bills. All right, you helping this nigga out. He's sleeping on a couch, right? Not even your couch. He ain't even. Not even his couch. He didn't even buy his own couch. Nigga sleeping on your couch, talking all this shit about in his community or his room. The living room is his room now. Like what, nigga? If you don't get out, you should be lucky that we allow you to be here. You should be lucky that we supplied you with the goddamn shower and the fridge and the stove so that you could do all the things that you need to do. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not saying that to be like, oh, you quote unquote black people should be thinking white people. No, that's not where I'm going at all. What I'm trying to illustrate to you is that the issue is that we don't control anything, and because you don't control anything, you can't do anything about it. But you can't do anything about it because you're not even aware that you don't control anything. You see what I'm saying? It's like the movie The Matrix. You're not even aware that you're in the Matrix. You got to wake the fuck up first before you start making change. And then at that point, then we can start doing our own shit, buying our own shit, building our own shit. Okay? It's almost Christmas time. You know how much money about to get spent in the black community? Wait, but we don't own nothing. So anyway, y'all, this video is going on way too long. Hold up. Excuse me. This video going on way too long. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Definitely leave it in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. And I'm gonna try to keep it out coming. So also I plan on having a guest. I'm gonna do like a live stream. What's today? Wednesday. Either between tonight and Friday. So maybe most likely tomorrow. But I'm gonna try to get a live stream going with one of my friends from high school. Because we were talking the other day at one of our mutual friends' baby's first birthday, and we were talking about politics and stuff like that, and what's going on in the country. And he's what you would call a quote unquote white person, Caucasian. So I'm going to bring him on the show to add perspective, and that way we can have a healthy dialogue and discuss things, and y'all can see from a different perspective because y'all get to hear me all the damn time. That way y'all get to hear somebody else. I'm going to try to bring people in. With different perspectives, again, just to keep it fresh, keep it going. That way, again, y'all not just hearing me, because it's good to juxtapose information. So again, with that being said, y'all be well, and look for that live to come out anywhere between today and the next 36 hours. Peace.